We got to do another 300. All right. All right. That's fine. Didn't say. Oh, I didn't put it in. God dang it, Carlin. You know how to play this game. Come on. Do the same already. Gosh darn it. Wait, did we? Who did I add that shouldn't have been in there? Gale. We wanted Penelope, right? Oh, no, last time I didn't have Minsk. That was the problem. Okay. We'll change this around a little bit. Should be past their spec choice. So. Right. Everybody's newly unlocked event slot without going to an active party? No. You have to be in an adventure to unlock to access the event UI, unfortunately. But the neat thing is when you're in the adventure, you can then you unlock your slot. You go over, you click on the view map, you come here, you say, "Hey, I want to do Wise Warriors," and you click reset and start objective, and you leave whatever you're in and go straight into the and go into the new thing. It's really great. Doesn't mean I don't want them. I still want them to have. Still want them to have that UI available from the map screen, but it was right in my ear. I couldn't hear myself. I couldn't hear myself talk. Then even think. Well, we got a green there. That's good. Okay. So we just need one more green for Kira. Either from an Electrum or it won't be today, I guess. Because I'm not going to get enough. No, 6,000. Right. 5 levels. Nice. Ooh, 5. Oh boy. All right, we're up to 7732 gems. Now, we have already unlocked Vajra, so now we really are on our way to the Pixie. I feel like we'll have. If we don't get Pixie today, we'll definitely have Pixie on Friday. Started the stream on Friday. We don't get there today. Okay, so we now have 244 EO4 influence. We'll have 488 EO4 influence when we're done, which is enough to buy the time gate piece. We already have the symbols we need, and enough to buy it next week. And this one will give us enough to buy it the week after that, too. So we don't have to do Vajra for a while. I'm not worrying about getting EO6 influence. I mean, that's nice and all, but no. Let's go over here. We're just going to go globals like we did for Mert. That'll help us everywhere. We don't need the help right now locally. What do you mean muted? I'm talking. Huh? Oh, 8 a.m. is still too early for leaf blowers. I don't know what they're talking about. That's ridiculous. I feel like things like leaf blowers, like after 12. After 12, please. Like we have every Wednesday here, we have a public test of our tornado warning system, which is all of the tornado sirens in town, because they're all over the place through town, light up and fire off as if there's a tornado, and you hear it when it's that time of the year, which is now. So that's how I know it noon. And that's how I know it's noon on Wednesdays. Is like the sirens kick off. Nice. Finished Split the Party too. Grats. Awesome. Still a ways away. Alas. Let's see. Are we going to get any of these others? I don't think we're going to get enough humanoids. Or bosses. But... noon on Tuesdays. Here you have tsunami sirens. Well, you're not sure what day. I would remember when that noise goes off. It would make me remember. Oh, that's what day it is, because otherwise, that means one's there. That means one's there. On the off chance that there's a tornado noon on Wednesday, people think it's just a routine siren. No. No. Because tornadoes don't come out of nowhere. There has to be massive storms. You would know the difference between just a... You would know if there was a massive storm, you would know, oh. And they probably wouldn't just run the test if you were in the middle of a massive storm, I would hope. Yeah, it's not like an earthquake or something that could come out of nowhere. Onyx, Caddy alone is totally fine. It's actually fantastic. It's a lot like Bee Stingers Unleashed. If you have Dungeon Master and or the Dark Urge, you can bring them in and they can help. Ad break. I did not see the warning for that. I need to... So we did... Oh, God, what did we just do? Oh, God, what did we do? Wasn't here. Haunted Jungle. Well, I don't want to say exactly. I don't want to tell people what to do. They might have to go back to Sword Coast. Oh, Lurking Rider, that was just on my last run, but I had taken other runs with garbage pulls to 2000 basically every time I did Caddy alone. Or at least past 1600 just to see like can I do it. I know I went past 1600. Lay on their desks as a flotation device. Oh, wow. That's wow. That's mean, honestly. I think I'm a little. I saw somebody I know that was a teacher posted an April Fool's joke they did, and I don't know that I like the concept of like you have to be very careful. I feel like as a teacher making an April Fool's joke, because you're supposed to be like a trusted source of information, right? And if even as a joke, like you prank your kids, I feel like you're losing a little of that. If it's something that's information based, like this, yeah. So, like having a flood drill is kind of that. Just, I'm not sure I like it. I mean, I'm not saying it's not funny. I'm just saying maybe that's not the best thing. Um, it's not even about looking up to. It's about you're supposed to like your kids are supposed to learn from these people because they're it's why you're sending them to school, right? So I don't know. And when they instruct you on things like do you want doubt in your mind? I don't know. They get past 1600 before or after the caddy fix. Both. Both. Oh wow. What you done with it? Seriously. Ugh. Depends on the grade level. That's what I mean. Is like are they younger kids? You don't want to do that. Is it maybe high schoolers? I mean, they're not gonna. High schoolers aren't gonna fall for a flood drill, right? So when you're manipulating kids to get make a joke work because they're young enough to fall for it, this case middle school. No, I think you could try to April Fool's high school kids, college kids, but I don't know if I want middle school or under. Not like that. Not something that's like a safety thing, like a drill, right? Especially not nowadays in the United States. Um, you know, the one I saw posted on Facebook was someone had uh, I think they have elementary school kids, and they said that the joke was that it wasn't April 1st; it was March 32nd. That they had gotten rid of April 1st, and it would just the next day would be April 2nd. That April was now going to start on the second of the month, and they had the kids writing it March 32nd on their papers and stuff. Rough. I felt uncomfortable with it when they posted it. I didn't say anything. Feels rough. Is this the Marvel crossover we always wanted? Is that Iron Man? Oh yeah, I remember. I remember bomb drills. Yeah, I don't know why we still had them at the. I mean, I guess 80s, 70s, 80s still wasn't a far flung concept. It was bigger in like the 50s and 60s, right? 78, 92. Nice. I mean, I had a great idea for a April Fool's joke one year for my friend at the school, but on my friend who was a teacher. Um, the problem was I knew that I was basically his car was parked right out in front of his classroom. Um, it's just the way the parking lots and everything, the classrooms were located. Is he could park right in front of his classroom, and I wanted to go out while he was in class, like shut the door, go in, say something, shut the door, come out, come out, shut the door, and then go out and basically put jacks under his car just enough that when he were to get in, like it would look somewhat normal, but when you get in and you hit the gas, the tires would just like, rub against the ground but not let you go anywhere. But the thing is I knew like he would go out and there'd be students out there and somebody would see him get that and then people would get and then the students would get that idea and I was like, I can't give that idea to the middle school kids. They will wreak havoc with it. Will wreak havoc with it. So I didn't do it. It would have been so funny. Yeah, nuclear drills where you get under your desk. Why? Why? What's that gonna do? I mean, we had earthquake drills where you get under desks, like find the sturdiest desks and cram under it. And I was like, there aren't a lot of desks. Like, first of all, like our desks aren't super sturdy, but because the idea was if the roof started falling in, you'd be protected. I don't know. But the nuclear hiding under a desk for a nuclear drill was like, wow. So dark car's been around a while. I don't know. Lead line fridge, yeah. That takes a lot of coordination. I never went to a school where the students were coordinated enough to like switch classes as an April Fool's joke. Yeah, Sonata, I just don't agree with that mentality, I guess. What are you doing to protect our kids in nuclear blast? Not talking about it? Because if it happens, they're just dead. Mhm. It's not like they went around building bunkers like in schools. Even here in Oklahoma, where there's tornadoes all the time. Not all the time, but there's a lot of tornadoes in cities where that are known for having like a high. The path of tornadoes is high. There are certain places, as it may come as a shock to people, but there are certain places that have more tornadoes than others. Like, uh, so there's certain cities that just get rocked on a fairly regular basis. Even there, the schools aren't required to have tornado shelters. Like, technically, they should be everywhere, but no, no. Mm. It just kind of, I don't know. It just frustrates me because, like, if you think about, like, they don't even have requirements for like tornado shelters or anything for building codes and stuff. But in smaller areas, man, if you had, if your local school was the community tornado shelter, it makes sense, right? But no, but no. I don't know about, yeah, microbursts aren't something you can get. I think if I remember what you're talking about in terms of like, I think I've seen this talked about a lot in uh, like around the Bermuda Triangle, where you can basically go from uh, certain conditions in a storm, and then suddenly, like, they meld in, like, two fronts meld in the right way, that suddenly it's just super destructive, and they think that this is one of the reasons why so many planes and ships and things get lost in the one of many reasons they get lost in the Bermuda Triangle. And yeah, they can absolutely. You can have pressure changes and destructive forces and things, and yeah, if that hits a city, good luck. Good luck. But there isn't really. I don't know that there's really a warning because I don't know. Well, I don't know. Yeah, it's a localized column of sinking air, basically. I don't know if you can. Guess it's a lot like trying to predict a tornado. I mean, you can say, "Hey, we have conditions for it," but yeah, yeah, it's too tough to predict because it requires this confluence of specific things that are at the middle level of a thunderstorm, and that's not necessarily, you can't necessarily pick it up. very well. Twister. Oh God, really. I don't know. I had a like I don't know. Like tornadoes are one of those things where it's just kind of feels like you're either lucky or you're not. Um, because like when I was a kid, we lived up at the lake. We lived across from, was right across from a farm, like a farmstead, and farmsteads they used to have if they could if there was lots of land and they built them out in tornado areas. What they would do is they would put the house up on kind of a raised ground, and then around it like there would be like a tornado like break, like a little there's an incline from paths where they know tornadoes come, and the idea is that a tornado comes along on the ground and it hits that raised thing and it jumps, it bounces, and it would clear and it would leave the farmhouse alone. This is just a thing that one of the things they would try to do, and it turns out it can actually work. You still have to deal with all of the strong winds, but it can basically come along the ground and then it just jumps, right? Um, and so we lived right across from a farmhouse, and then behind us and this was the high point, and then it went down, and behind us was trailer parks, like not trailer parks but trailers, mobile homes and stuff. That was the rest of this community. uh, and as happens often in Oklahoma, you have tornado season, and a tornado, a strong storm came through, and I woke up in the morning to find our front window. I had this long, like this big plate glass window in the front, and it had been blown out, and my dad had like plasticed over it. I was like, "Oh, what happened?" And they're like, "Oh, a tornado jumped the house last night." We're like, "What?" And it had literally cruised right along that flat path of farmland, hit the jump, cleared the house across from us, cleared us and a bunch of the houses behind, and landed in the depressed area behind us and mowed through a bunch of things. And the wind alone had picked up, debris and stuff and thrown it through our front window. I was like, okay, so I could have just died in the middle of the night, like while I was sleeping. Good to know. Good to know. If it wasn't for that, so it's just like, and like our house right now, knock on wood, um, historically has been in a place where there's tornadoes that go like maybe a half a mile down there. We've seen tornadoes hit in like different places, but never through here. It's weird that way, but yeah, for whatever reason, this area has been free of tornado damage. We get high wind damage, clearly. See the tree that fell in our house, um, but it is. I mean, I've seen utterly devastated areas of this of the just not about a half a mile from us because of half a mile because of a tornado actually touching down. Oh, I bet till it's on. Yeah, that would be a mess. That'd be a mess. 8108, closing in on that Pixie. We actually do get to buy the Pixie now. House insurance must be well. I mean, here's the thing: is um, it's considered wind and hail damage, like it's under your wind and hail portion of your policy. And as I freaked a lot of people out when I was telling them, there's a deductible, there's an amount that's your portion to pay, and it's like $7,500. So, uh, I mean, we ended up paying 15,000 out of pocket when the tree fell on the house. Well, a little over that. Because I did also have to have the rest of the tree removed. I had to pay for that. That wasn't going to be covered, but 15,000 was our portion of the repair bill to fix the house. After, before the insurance kicks in. So for us, it was because around here, lots of wind damage, and then they also just bundle hail under that too. That's how the insurance companies kind of offset deductibles, are how insurance companies offset costs so that they're not having to pay for every little thing. $15,000 was your portion. What was the total? It's a good question. We went through multiple different I'm confused because I would have to go. I didn't handle all the tracking that. My mom did. It's her account. So, I know at one point, like the contractors were quoting us, like $100,000 and stuff. But I think that kind of got walked back. I want to say probably somewhere between $60,000 and $100,000 overall. Somewhere in there. It was a lot. It was a lot. But yeah, our portion was still $15,000. And so I'm slowly trying to, make extra money to put back in my mom's savings account. I was gonna do like a whatchamacallit, what's the crowdfunding thing for disasters? I don't know. And then I just never did because we didn't know how much we were going to have to pay until it was all over ultimately. And so I just kept putting it off and I never did it because I felt bad. GoFundMe, yeah. I felt bad like putting a number out there when we didn't even know what the total was going to be yet. Now I know better. Now I'm like, look, just get a good estimate and then put it up and see if people will help. Yeah, that was a good one, Dilettante. Two ice methods have befriended Gosrick. It's not weird. Like, the fact that you have to say it's not weird makes it weird. And my car insurance go up dramatically, and the insurance company said it was rising costs. It could be that they adjusted their, their tables, their loss tables. I can't remember the exact term right off the top of my head. If they file their rates differently in the state, for whatever reason, then it happens. But you can always shop around. We completed pros and cons. All right, Lediath, thanks for hanging out. All right, that was all we needed for Vajra, so that's all we really need to do. We can get out of here and we can go back to event stuff. We can go back to event stuff. We need to do all the tier 1 for Akira now. Oh my god, and we get nobody. We need to do all of tier 1 for Akira. Oh, and then there's no one available. From our starter list. Okay. Who we got? We got our Akira. We got Celeste. We got nobody. We got Ashara. We got Hitch. Okay. Okay, well this could be worse. Sure. I'll take everybody. I'll take everybody you got. We're gonna need it. We can't even put a full party out. I don't know. We don't even have tanks. We could have a tank in Tyrol. I don't think we're going to need it. We're only going to 75. It'll be fine. We can click that far. We can click that far. Fix. Doesn't matter. All right, so I'm going to come over here to Vajra. I'm going to come down to the shop, and I'm going to go, boom, time gate piece. And look at that. We can buy, we got 2 more weeks worth of time gate pieces we can buy. That's fantastic. Perks-wise, we can come over here, and I get 30% damage all champions from Vajra. Awesome. Did we come close to finishing any others? Not really. Halfway there on these. Halfway there on these. If we AFK, like if tonight I shut it down and I put it into a Vajra free play, we might get this and these. If I do it in Mad Wizard, we might get the Fiends as well. Because otherwise we would want this from Mert and the bosses, and yeah, I think we're probably AFK and we're probably offline in Vajra. Meaty, I have a bunch of Orkira stuff, but not. Unfortunately, not a silver until I can buy another pack. Hawk the Nerd. Here's the thing. Look, full disclosure, I was a licensed professional insurance agent for over 6 years. Insurance companies insurance isn't a scam. And in fact, insurance companies, when most of them are built around the concept, like, well, I'm speaking for, like, I work for an auto insurance company. The idea is you set it up so that, like, somewhere between 97 and 100% of people's policy premiums that they're paying go to pay for claims. And what you do is you don't make money off of, like, withholding that premium dollars. You make money off investing it while you're holding on to it before it gets paid out. That's the business model of most insurance companies. In fact, some insurance companies will actually write their insurance at a loss, and they'll make gains off other functional things that they sell, like investment stuff and blah blah blah. Where we get into problems is really, and is when we start talking about, like, denied claims that are clearly a problem. And you can start getting into that with home insurance and especially health insurance. There's definitely issues there. But insurance in and of itself is not a scam. Insurance is distributed, is a social safety net. It's a distributed cost. And it's a good thing. But yeah, it's the lack of regulations in insurance that creates problems. And ad break. And ad break. We get none of our speed champions here, so it's just like, I'm gonna do it. 15 minutes. I just got this, and I'm like, nope, spinning it. I think of what else we got. So there's no sketching hour today, so we'll be going an hour longer. So no sketching hour today, so we'll go an hour longer because we're not going to be rating. Tomorrow, so we got another couple hours, a little over 2 hours to go today. Should get a lot of stuff done. Tomorrow, GG2E, 10 a.m. Pacifically speaking. It looks like. Wait, no. There's no dev insights this week, but it looks like I have a meeting. So again, no afternoon stream then for me. Then back on Friday, and then the Saturday morning is the tutorial show, and I don't hold on. Remember what I'm tutorializing this week. Be something good, right? The absolute adversaries. Oh, yay. Okay. Oh, yay. No, but yeah, because they're all in the game now, and we wanted to do that after they all came in the game. Awesome. Awesome. Trying to think of things I want to do with that, but well, we'll stick to just talking about the champions. There's going to be a lot of extra stuff people are going to ask about. So, and then the rest of basically these now that we've got Vajra, we're good for a while on patron stuff. Strahd is 40 champions, which we'll have to start thinking about. Completing Towering Expectations means going back to Sword Coast, doing a deep run, just so that we have some realistic favor there, and making our way through, and then saving up bounty contracts. Thanks, I hate it. Thanks, Strahd, I hate it. Yeah, we'll get there. Most of my interactions are with health insurance or health related, so I'm jaded on. Oh no, I get it 100% when it comes to health insurance. I get it. I'm very much a our founding documents said, everyone has the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and to me that life means universal health insurance. I'm that person. So, get rid of all of that and just cover people's insurance. Let people go be healthy. It's good for everyone. It would be better for everybody if everyone were just healthy all the time. But my experience, but the bulk of my experience now has been for a long time with like auto insurance. Technically property and casualty, but I didn't deal with the homeowner's side until the tree fell on my house, and it sucked. But I understand it because you have to learn. Like you learn if you're a licensed insurance agent, you're a licensed property and casualty agent. That means you deal with autos and homes, like renters, homeowners, and auto insurance. And so you have to understand them all. And you're constantly, to re-up your license, you constantly have to demonstrate that knowledge. Like it's not a full test, but you have to take continuing education courses and stuff to to keep your license active. which I think shocks a lot of people. They're like, "Wait, you have to have a license to sell insurance? Like, not like a, it's like, and it's not one like anybody could you just go get a license, like a business license or something. You just give people some money. No, you got to take a test, and the failure rate is pretty high, or at least it was back when I was doing it. It was they were like, "Oh no, we bring people in and we teach them everything they need to know so that they can go succeed on that test the first time." Because whereas in other companies, like you can't even get a job with some companies until you've passed the test, which means you've had to teach yourself everything and train and pay the test costs and everything up front. Whereas the company I worked for did that for you. But if you failed, you got one more chance. They put you back in kind of a they put you in another class that was coming through, and you'd have to train up, and if you didn't get it the second time, goodbye. Hey, King Salami. All right, we're running through just tier 1 over Kira. We just unlocked. That got us Patron Vajra. We also have our Vajra stuff. Got some time gate pieces. And we just got to burn through as much of the event stuff as possible before time's up. We got a week. Mm-hmm. Just open split the party and it says deadly difficulty. Any tips for a first timer? Yeah, I got a guide for that. So my tip is really just go read the restriction and understand what's going on. Because if you've unlocked it, you can do it. The deadly, those ratings are just about favor, and you don't start with favor, but you can do it. But you have to understand the restriction and what's going to happen as you progress, and you have to make a plan for it. So my guide there that I linked in chat, you can read the first part of it. It's just going to be maybe a bit of a better explanation of what the restrictions are and what's going on, and then you could go to try to do it on your own, or you can keep scrolling down, and then there's a full walkthrough. If you'd rather have that. Yeah, and hashtag Bruner lives. If you go into it with Bruner, I mean, you can go into it with not having Bruner and get to have somebody else, like. You know. You did it starting with Dahani and Dahani live? Nice. Yeah, I just, in my walkthrough, I always do it with the core champions. I set it up so I'm using the core champions. And that way everybody knows that when they're looking at the guide that they too can do it. It is, I will say that guide is now a little outdated. Well, I don't know. I think the way that I just did it on stream recently is easier. Um, but I don't think I've clipped that and put it on YouTube yet. And the chicken lives, yes. Hey, from Moana. I love Moana. We'll see if the second one lives up to the first one or not. Hey's not a jerk, though. Phil's a jerk, but Hey's great. You ever, do you ever document variants that are the easiest to do? Yeah, it's in my Patrons 101 guide. We call them efficient patron variants. But basically, the requirement there is it needs to be a relatively high area goal for its campaign, but have basically restrictions that are non-restrictive. And it's in the Patrons 101 guide. It'll have to be revisited at some point, I'm sure, but as they add more content to the game. There's kind of a gap. Like there's one in Tomb of Annihilation, and then I don't think we have one for listed for Waterdeep. As we get through Waterdeep, I'll have to just take a pass and look at things and see if there's anything that's decent there. And probably take another look at Sword Coast. Oh, yeah. No, there aren't a lot. There aren't a lot on that list. It's kind of where, I just tell people this is where you should go first. After that, it's just about a grind. Just about grinding them out. I mean, I don't know. Someone will probably create a tier list of that at some point. Ain't me. That's a little rough, yeah. He's the community manager, though. You should always read the change logs. Come on. Yeah, Moana's a great movie. I really like Moana. And the soundtrack. Or if it was fixed, was it even possible to pour more than 100 bombs? No. But that's not what the fix is for. The fix is so that you don't just keep spending item levels on it when it's useless. Right? And there should be one like that on Whittle. There should be one like that on Melf. Because with Whittle, there's definitely a point where you've got too many item levels, and it comes up pretty quickly. Feels like. But you don't want champions to. I'm shocked that they let her go all the way to 100, because you really don't want one champion to be what makes that work. You want to have to combine champions. They've stated this before, and then this is our design idea, and it's why they changed Human, right? And then, yeah. Well, close to 100, basically, I think it's going to, a lot more often than not, it'll round up, right? Or, well, I guess it depends on how close to 100 it gets. But the reality is you go to pull a bunch of enemies. There's probably, well, there might be one on the screen already, so you bring in 99 more. Right? All right. Yeah, I put 1,000 on her find a feast. I wouldn't. I have no interest in going beyond that. 1,000 felt pretty efficient. All right, there's Wise Warriors Wait. Done. Next up for Orkira, Volo's Guide to Orkira. That hack. Garwar's Guide to Orkira is way better. Way better. Let's see. Can we bring in regular people? Not regular, but you know what I mean. Yes, Shandy. Mansk. Uma. I don't know. How do we want to? Oh no, Lily's starting. Oh, it doesn't matter. Like, oh no, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But no. Again, we're gonna click through this anyway. We're gonna click through this anyway. None of these people are gonna be in the right place, but it doesn't matter. But it doesn't matter. What do we got? 125. Yeah, shouldn't be an issue. In fact, there's 125. I can pull the clicker off. Good lord. Yeah. All right. There we go. 82, 87 gems, so 1713 to go for our pixie. We'll have five. I cast 5 familiars. Wait, that's not the song. There's Garwar's Guide to Volo guides. If they ever put Volo in the game, there's going to be Garwar's Guide to Volo, and you're going to open it up, you're going to click on it, it's going to say he's a hack. that's going to be it. That's going to be it. It's just, I mean, look. Dritz is a good unit. Just got him. I mean, he can be in the right formation. He can be solid. He's in this formation because he's giving Jarlaxle some extra gold find. I don't have enough speed champions to just make a team of speed champions, unfortunately. That's all I really want here, but so instead I'm throwing in some speed champions and then some gold find champions, so that if I do want to level up, I can click all the way through this, but if I do want to kill with my champions, I can very easily by just, throwing bunches and bunches of levels into them like this. Until you have to do a Saturday tutorial showing Vola. gonna cross my fingers that that never happens. What else do we got now in? Hmm, 50 variants. Oh, 50 variants. This will be actually be done with this pretty quickly. If it counts event variants, we'll finish that today. Get a gold chest. I'm not sure what this is going for with this gold box. Where is that leading us? It's supposed to be a guide quest, but where is it guiding me? I don't even know. Where's that guiding me, folks? 50 variants. Just generic variants. And the fact that these aren't guide quests, like that they've changed these to collecting quest, shiny collection. I don't like these distinguishers again. Unlock new champion skins, parties, etc. New features such as patrons. I don't like this differentiation. That's what it comes down to. Oh, I know what this is taking us to. This is taking us to Elminster, right? Not important at this point in time. Why? Okay. Yeah, this is places we haven't even gone yet. Yeah, I think it's just 5 familiars is the next one, and then who knows? The chance Volo could be absolute adversaries adjacent. I don't think he would be. Well, I don't think he would be related to them. He never had a. I mean, he made an appearance in the game, but I don't think he was. I don't know. Yeah. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Gora's Guide, the tutorial show. Today's topic is Volo. He's a hack, everyone. Thank you. I'll see you next week. No questions at this time. Oh, the yellow block quest. Follow the yellow block. Oh no. I also don't like this layout. I'll be honest. I don't like how this all functions. The more I sit with it, the less I like it. At first I was like, I don't really like this, but I'm like, is it just because it's different and new and different? So I wanted to sit with it a while, and now I'm like, no, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Yeah, well, I know this sorting they wanted to fix, but I don't think they haven't had a chance to. They've just been busy. But even sorted, I don't like. Even sorted, I don't like it because there's no way to know where I'm going. And if you don't know where you're going, why would you go down a path if you don't know where it's leading you? Like that's a trap. Like you might, even on an easy side, you might start working on it because you think it's easy, but if you don't know where it's leading you, you don't know if it's worth your time or energy. So like right now we see for example, complete 50 variants. Well, this is a gold one. I should want this, right? But if the end result is Elminster, No, working down this path is a waste of your time because you're nowhere near getting Elminster. Right? This one should be working you towards Strahd, and this one is working you towards Zariel. None of these are. I mean, you can work towards them, sure. I mean, I don't. This one also would unlock trials of Mount Tiamat. But this one, if this one's leading to Elminster, you don't care. You don't care. There's 250 variants. You don't care. That's utterly pointless. No, Shevik, we had conversations. I had conversations with that person. But, you know, it did not end up like I didn't have conversations with who was creating the UI, right? I didn't have conversations with that person. I had conversations with persons who was designing the paths. And I don't know that I have a problem with the paths themselves. I have a problem with so what they did. I don't know that I have a problem with that. We've already talked like the rewards early on missed, right? And they know that, and they're working on that. But it's the paths. It's like the visuals that I have a problem with, and that's a UI. That's a UI issue. That's whoever created the UI. It does not deliver what it needs to deliver to exist as a feature that guides you through the early game in its current form. Even if everything else were fine, because I think the paths might be fine. I would have to see the trees to know if the paths are fine, and I can't see the trees. That's the thing, is I can't see any of it. I can't see the paths you're going down. Like if you think of it as like this is the starter, and then it maybe it branches off into different things, and there's all this stuff that branches off as you get to different places. I don't know what that looks like. Um, yeah. The quests do feel like just random achievements, but they're not supposed to be. So, you know. And to me, part of that is just the visual layout. And we're in an ad break. I'll get back to. I see a comment in chat. Yeah, I don't want to talk about it, but wait till I get back from the ad break. Back to chat. One company I used to work for took a complete novice for reading the user guides they wrote. It was generally an eye opener regarding stuff that seemed obvious. Yeah, I mean that's you got to write it for people. I try to do it with my guides, but I don't always hit it. You got to write it for people who don't have any idea what any of the concepts are, right? And this is my frustration with a lot of times when I read other people's guides. It's like, where's the explanation of what this stuff is? Like, there are so many things that the guide writers just assume you know, and you can't do that. And sometimes tool makers too, right? Like, I downloaded to use that well, a variety of couple different tools for raid, and man, trying to figure out how to use them is next to impossible. Like, they're just not super usable on their own, and that always frustrates me. What are we gonna get to? 40 away, roughly. Kitchen smells like pork, chilies, and cumin right now. Well, I hope that was on purpose. Like that an Iraq variant boosts his DPS, but he's no longer DPS. No! How dare they? Oh my god. Get wrecked, brain. Get wrecked, brain. chill day today, folks. We're just running through this. Unless people have questions, we're at that part of the game. Wheat from the chaff is teeted. Yeah. Yeah, some of the, I mean, look, some of these variants were never designed to go higher than tier 1. So, it's rough. Almost done. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you got to have survivable tanks for that one, right? And that's where you get Priv and add in Emiria, right? That kind of stuff. That pumpkin familiar never, I don't think it was supposed to come out. I don't know. We got the announcement for it. And even the announcement's gone away now. So yeah, I think it was turned on too early. Maybe. I'll be honest, it looked like it should have. I mean, the pumpkin familiar looks like something that should come out in October. And it's April. But oh, that's right. Melf has to be in. Well, I didn't know. Oh, that's right. Yeah, because it's the one where he marks everything. So, lots of health. Lots of health share. Lots of health share is the only other option there. Okay, Flare Whispers. Armored Mind Flayers. Why does that not work? Okay, so this one. I got this. One we definitely want. A very specific party form. We need to get through these. Well, I guess we don't need to. But we're not going to be able to shandy our way through this. Is the problem. Yeah. It's not. So. A very specific grouping. I want to keep them all away with Penelope's insect swarms. what we want. Well, I didn't say it would be fun. I just said that that's what you'd want to do. Let's be clear. Not all the challenges in this game are fun. They just are what they are. Now Sandy will help because they'll get slowed down in these. If we even, yeah, they're just getting destroyed. Okay, that's good. But if they do make it, if there are enough on the screen at once, they'll get slowed down by Penelope's insect swarms. Get to 175. Right. Do I have? No. I haven't eaten one of those. All right. How are we doing on gems? 8490, folks. Nice. 5 gold or Kira chests. I kind of just want to go for it. Thank you. I just want to open them. I think we're good. I don't think there's a bad 5 greens and a white. There's not a bad outcome here. Yeah. Because we get the green for the one that needed it, and then we get a blue somewhere else. Perfect. Perfect. Okay. Blue pants. Nice. Blue elemental fire. That's also nice. Epic healing flame. Oh, yeah. And a blue lesser restoration. This was a pretty solid chest. And there's the blue damage all champions. Okay, what are we at? Full blue? No, we got 1 blue left. 1 blue left. You know what? We've got a Vajra chest. Where'd it go? Carefully balanced. Yes. 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 It's our speed item, folks. That's why I'm happy. If you don't know, now you know. All right. Strings rock pile. Awesome. What are we at now? 54% chance to drop double. Great. Great. Because now when we hit our ultimate, we're like 108. Right. And that's 454 when I only have 2 adjacencies. When I only have 2 adjacencies, and which is garbage. Okay. There's another set of. Oh yeah. Okay. Here. Visit the shop. Chests or Kira. Buy now. Open. 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 These are whites. Okay, it's fine. Dupes. Give me that last blue. And she got the ultimate. She got an epic. We got a blue and a purple for the same item. Oh, but that's fine. That's fine. And neither's a dupe because this one came out first and that one came out second. That's the way it works. All right. Well, look. 4 blues, 2 epics. This was the goal for all the event champions. We nailed it. We nailed it. All my event champions. I mean, the goal was 5 blues, 1 epic, but they all somehow magically hit 4 blues, 2 epic. So I ain't mad at it. I ain't mad at it. For the best speed units to start to get, I mean, Human needs some item levels, but even without them, I mean, I've started investing in them. But even with low item levels, he's still a great speed champion. Shandy speeds up the entire game uh, without needing any item levels. If you get a feat for her, there's a feat for her that you can. It's a default feat. So once you unlock feats, you get doubles, so 50% faster. Um, Deacon is another one that could be great without needing gear in slot 1, or you could go Whittle in slot 2. They have the same kind of speed boost. Whittle doesn't need a lot of gear, and she can get, like Human, she can get a decent number just based off adjacencies. So, it's functional right away. Briv, obviously, is a great one, but he needs lots of item levels. We've got, over 150 average before he really starts. Where it gets to the point where, like, every other area he's skipping. I like him for more than his speed effect. I target him first usually because I want a super solid tank that also has a little bit of speed that gets better over time. But if you just want to speed up from the beginning, like Human, Shandy, and then either Deacon or Whittle. If you have a lot of the absolute adversaries, because maybe you were on Steam and you got that pack, Lae'zel is the... You have Lae'zel, and Lae'zel's big with other absolute adversaries, but then you'd want to pair her with like a Deacon and a Shandy. She doesn't pair well with Human. Don't want to use my pigments on Briv? What do you mean? I did. He's pigmented. He's pigmented. So is Penelope. So is... Oh, no. Krull doesn't have any epics. What am I saying? If Krull had epics, Krull would be too. I've been thinking about Spurt. I put him on Gale. Did I? Yeah, I put him on Gale. I might put another set on Arcura just so we have a strong swap. But, yeah, it's not about, like, having multiple speed champions in a slot isn't about who's better. I understand why you would want to know that when you're trying to build out a specific party. But like I've said before, I would like 2 speed champions in every slot. And then after that, I would like 3 speed champions in every slot. Because I want to make sure that when I'm doing variants with hard restrictions, I can still build a full speed team. Because the deeper you get into this game, like, you're going over area 1000, and when you don't have a speed team, it doesn't matter that you've got a fast core and speed potions. It feels slow without speed champions. I told you, I put the support pigments on Briv already. I don't know why are we still talking about it? I don't. Oh, but I said I put them on there. You see a little froggy in the green stripe. But yeah, I already put them there. Okay, we're already at 178 on click damage, so I can just move this over here. There's some slow distractions. So yeah, I mean, I would like to see lots more speed champions. Personally, I don't really get a say in that. I could express that. That isn't necessarily their goal. Isn't my goal. Their goal isn't 2 speed champions in every slot. They just look for, when there's a champion that comes out and it's like, oh, this would actually work. This kind of part of their story or whatever, it actually makes sense to be a speed effect. Then they do it. They aren't necessarily trying to target slots with them. I mean, if they can do that as well, great. But I want a tank speed. We have one. They're called Briv. We also have two. We have well, they're called Thalora. Briv and Thalora are our tank speed champions. Well, then you have Thalora. If you don't want Briv, you've got Thalora. Oh, and you got Sentry, yeah. And there's Sentry. Minsk with Dynahair is a tanking speed champion, but not quite the way you want. The year of speed, all 12 champions that year are speed champions. Whoa, I think that would mess with people real hard. I don't know that people would like it. Well, I get that Sentry speed goes away when she gets hit, but you didn't delineate that that you wanted tanks that their speed continues even when they get hit. You just said you want tank speed champions, and we provided you with 3.5. They exist in the game. I would like more DPS speed champions. I think Nohara was an interesting start, and I like how it works. I like how it's speed until it isn't, and then it's power. Oh, that was a great idea. Oh, Tatiana is well. Yeah, Tatiana doesn't count. I mean, a little bit as a speed tank. They tried to do. Well, I don't know if they were trying to do these things, but they ended up with certain speed champions that are more functional as you get at your wall and you're needing to build up enemies to move forward. In that case, Tatiana is a speed champion. But that isn't usually what people are trying to accomplish with speed. I'm not against it. I'm just saying it is a. There's early run speed and late run speed. I don't know if there's mid run. There isn't really mid run speed. Early run and mid run tends to be about the same. But then there's late run attempts at late run speed, and that's like Tatiana is late run speed. Technically, Xander is late run speed, but it's garbage. Well, again, Sonata, it depends on where you want the speed. Her speed kicks in at later in a run than earlier, right? Early, like again, there's early run speed, there's late run speed. We don't have a lot of late run speed champions. Honestly, there are a lot of people that would like to turn Briv skip off early and have it just kick in later. And usually, what you do is you just don't add Briv to your formation until later on because you really want Briv at the end of your run if you're doing like a super deep variant push. Because you're always going to run out of stacks, usually, almost always. And so Having him in later to be late run speed, it feels better. Bruisers are horrible, Cowgate, and that's why. There are, like I said, we've talked about bruisers before, and they just never worked in this game. They never worked well. So that's another function of Tatiana's. Another way to use Tatiana's speed ability to speed something up, but usually what we're talking about with speed effects are things that make you go through a run faster. But a lot of what people want is just early part for gem farming, but it's also important to have late run speed. It just is. So, I don't mind that those champions exist. What I mind is that there's only a couple and they're not great. One of them isn't great, at least. One of them's hot garbage. Like Humon's speed just works the whole run. There's not even a trade-off. It's just always on. Technically, you can place Sentry in a place where that's the case as well. But like Nahara's is specifically early run speed. Ad break. For anybody who didn't get a served an ad, there's an ad break going for people. So. Nothing for you. There's still like a minute left for other people, though. And we got 100 areas still to go. It's so slow. I need those speed potions. Oh man, we're gonna level up. Yeah, core. 7856, 144 areas. We level up. Nice. Nice. Hey, when you get to the end of a root beer, you didn't drink it fast enough and all the ice melted, and that's just watered down root beer. Yeah. No, sir. Didn't like it. All right. Mel for Kira or Gosrick. I mean, all things being equal, or Kira. But usually you're looking, like, again, we talk about this a lot. Who do you need for split the party? That's what I did. I was planning. I got our Kira because I'm shooting for split the party 2, where I need 3 in every slot. My other option was to pick up at slot 9, like Ayla. That was the other one I was leaning towards. But the next event has 2 slot 9s in it. So I went with Orkira. Or else I think it does. And I didn't see a slot 1, but maybe who knows, maybe they'll move someone into it. Well, Sam, I'm making the kind of presumption that the next event is going to be the Great Modron March, because I think they're getting rid of the running, because they've moved. Look at all the people they've moved out of the running, so that tells me the running is going away. Which tells me maybe they put Shaka and Dungeon Master in Great Modron March. But I think Great Modron March is next, and we'll have Evelyn or Kira, Kreidel, Jahira, Mehen, Nordum, Nixie. Oh, they moved people already, maybe. Avandra, Nixie, Nordum, Mehen, Jahira, Krydal, Orkira, Evelyn. Yeah. Or Keelik, excuse me. Keelik. Yeah, I think they moved everybody. I think this is everybody. That's 8. So what we don't know is who's the new champion and where would they sit, and who's the reworked champion and where would they sit. Although one of these could be the reworked. One of these could be. Who would they rework? Man, there's some potential options there. So yeah, we should see Evelyn, Keelik, Krydal, Jahira, Mahan, Nordum, and Nixie and Avandra in the next event. Good. Yeah, they named all the surviving events, and I just don't remember them. So yeah, I went Orkira because it seemed like a good choice, and it seemed like there were going to be a couple of slot 9s. So yeah. Let me see who else. Normally, the Great Modron March would have Evelyn, Keelik, Jahira, Mahen, Nordum, and Avandra. So, Evelyn, Keelik, Jahira. So Krydal is. The Krydal moved. Jahira. Mahen. Right, this is Thurgiash Mahen. Nordum. And Avandra. So Nixie is the other one that moved. So Krydal and Nixie look like the two that moved, maybe from another event. Maybe we don't know who the rework champion is yet. Maybe it's not one of those. Okay. Last time they kind of gave away the rework champion because they put Penelope there, and we were like, that's not where Penelope should go. So it made it real easy to figure out. Krydal got moved from the running, and so did Nixie. So Krydal and Nixie got moved out of the running into Great Modron March. So that's why there's only 2 left listed in the running, because Dungeon DM and Shock are the only ones left. So I don't think we know who the. I don't think we can. That doesn't tell us who the rework champion is. So there's a lot of slots available in the next event. Well, I don't think it's any of the ones I just listed. I don't think any of those are the rework champion. Who would I suggest to get from the next event? I don't know. Again, you got to know what you're doing for split the party. I will say Krill is a unique tanking champion. He's a dodge tank, so he doesn't actually take damage until he does. But it's neat. That's a really neat mechanic. Comes in useful for variants where you take percentage max health because he can tank the front line but not boost the health of your party. And then you can shield it all. Jahira was super strong after her rework, and they just patched. Apparently 19 of her upgrades weren't buffing her correctly, so she should be really good. I don't know. Nordum is not great. Nixie and Avandra are okay. Mahan's not great. I love him. He's my favorite champion in the game, but he's not great. Keelik and Evelyn are okay. Evelyn actually, I think it probably is. Evelyn got a rework and she's solid now. She's probably really solid, but she's in slot 6, so it's hard to it's hard to use people in slot 6 that are tanks. We might not get a rework champion. It could be 2 new champions. That is true. That's true as well. Or it could just be 2 rework champions. But no, these are all everything that's listed is those are the or those 6 of those 8 are original Great Modron March, and I don't think they're gonna. I don't know. They could rework someone in their own event, but that would feel real weird. I don't think they'd do that. And it looks like those other 2 would have just been moved in as a shift, like as a normal shift. So what you want to look for is the one that doesn't belong. Like which one of these does not belong, and whoever gets added to that list could potentially be the rework. You can get Jahira in Vajra's patron, yes. But that's only if you're that far in Vajra, right? Like right now I am we did 2 variants and I was able to get the time gate piece. Getting all the way down here to get Vajra or to get Jahira is EO7 influence plus 20. The 20,000 currency would be easy by the time I got EO7 influence. But EO7's a good chunk of influence. I can't do that yet. But it may mean that I pick Nordum instead of Jahira out of slot 9 next event. Because I'll know that eventually I can just get Jahira from the patron shop. I mean, that's something to keep in mind. What does Mert do? Oh, Warden. So Warden, yeah. I mean, I'll probably pick up Warden this way instead of flexing Warden in an event. I would like to get enough influence to get the familiars, but it hasn't been a high priority. Hasn't been prioritized above other things, right? Yeah, Cridal Gale combo on health damage, on percent max health damage would be a good combo because Gale just deflects and Cridal. You need some healers for Cridal, not to actually heal him. They don't actually have to be putting their heals on it. They just have to exist in the party. It's an interesting mechanic. Cridal is the first tank to make healers actually useful in the game. All healers. Anybody with the healing tag. It would have to be, because it says it wasn't... Oh, hold on. Properly buff for class actability. I guess maybe it could be a nerf if it was buffing it too well. I just read it as it was fixing it. Like, I could be wrong. What are people saying? I didn't go look. I did. I totally just assumed it was they weren't working before and now they're working. But yeah, I could be wrong. What do we got? 55 more areas. How are we doing over here? It's not going up very well. Why numbers no go up faster? It was Mars that said it would be a buff. I hope so. She was strong though. That's what's wild is if she had 19 upgrades that weren't working and now they are and weren't working correctly, like, that would be a big deal. Because for a while I was using her as my primary DPS, like during her season. She was lighting it up. But then then suddenly we had like Birdsong and then Catty Bree, and it was like, okay. She kind of got put on the back burner for me, but she was still, so it didn't mean she wasn't good. It just, she wasn't the priority anymore. If they're talking about it, they're talking about it in Discord because nobody's posting on the subreddit. I clicked on the tavern and now I just want to not. Like they're not. What is? I don't see anything that looks like a useful conversation. Not around Jahira, so. Reminder, folks, there's no sketching hour today, so you're stuck with me for another hour. I always tell you, I don't make the schedule. I don't make the schedule. But we got 40-ish, 42 more areas to go here, and then we're into. Then we'll do her first tier 2 at 250. Yeah, because that's what we did for everybody else. Is just do like their first variant. Because it was the quickest to get through. We'll at least start that. I don't know if we'll be able to get all the way through it. We'll see. No, you sketch for no. Nope. Nope. If I had, if I had money and could buy like a tablet and do the sketching thing on a tablet with one of those e-pens, like that they use, like the styluses, maybe. I don't have the money for that. Me sketching with a mouse is nope. And I'm not even saying that it would even be good if I were using a stylus and a tablet thing. I'm just saying that's probably the only way it would come close to being anywhere decent. It'd take a grand total of one art class in college. And it was like introductory drawing or something like that. Or some, I don't even know. I don't know that it was necessarily drawing, but it's something like that. It was focused on sketches and stuff. Although sometimes we use like charcoal instead of pencils. And it was just very, it was like, I remember taking this class. It was supposed to be art for non majors, right? Basically. Um, I remember taking this class and there were people in it who were just so good. And I'm like, what are you even doing in this class? Why didn't you just take the one for majors? Like, even if you're not majoring in it, everyone here's supposed to suck. Why are you so good? Basically, that was basically my complaint. Why is everyone here so good at this? Almost done with Split the Party? Nice. After the last split, it's like after 37, it's just, you get to load up your whole formation and just cruise right through it. Got to screw up the grading curve. You know, I may have only ever had, I didn't have a lot of classes that graded on a curve in college, fortunately. Um, I remember the one that I did, I was the jerk setting the curve at 100%. Like it was the one class that I was, yeah, I got this, and I would get like 100% on tests over and over and over and over again, and set the curve at what it should always be, 100% to zero, right? And then one time I missed one, and the teacher was like, "Oh, looks like 98% is going to be the highest." And then someone else got 100, and I was like, and they had to like reverse their statement. I was so proud of that other person for getting 100%. Like, yes, you did it. Good. Good. That's how to draw now. Yeah. Yeah, Discord links suck for pictures. No, I think there's only like one thing that I did. It was with charcoal that I really liked. I think I still have it somewhere. Um, I was like, I'll get this framed someday. It wasn't that good. But but it's the nicest drawing I ever made. But it was with charcoal, and it was a lit candle in a dark room, and I started by just blacking out the entire sheet, and then going in with an eraser and erasing the light points instead. And I like the way that turned out. Obviously, I kept it. But outside that, I don't know that I have any other art. Unlit candle in a dark room is easier, yes. But that wasn't the assignment. We were supposed to use, light and dark with charcoal to create something. And so I did. I just charcoaled the whole page and then erased what I wanted. Second adventuring party. This means I can run 2 parties, right? I need to level up both? Yeah. But you can do them in different things, right? The bigger deal is the Modron core. Make sure you put that in whatever your party you're visually looking at so you can level it up. Ooh. Speaking of, 7946. 54 levels and we level up. Like, I'm not currently using mine, but that's because Twitch, right? Like, I'm trying to do all the stuff that I can on screen, on stream, to cut it for to post on YouTube. If I had more familiars, I'd just park a champion in the background and let it just get gems. And that's what I'll be doing when I stop the stream now is once I wrap up whatever adventure I'm on, if that happens off stream, I'll switch over to a gem party. It's just like one champion and some familiars. And last night we got over, between the end of stream yesterday and the start of stream today, we got just over 2,000 gems from that. Ain't saying no to that, right? I'll take a couple thousand gems overnight. So I'm at least going to be using it for that. But yeah, without the familiars, you have to go back and forth between the 2 parties and manually level them up as you go along. I don't know why I'm leveling up Jarlaxle. I'm not using him for damage. Get favored. Oh, I mean, yeah, whatever your background party is doing is normal, just like any other party you'd be doing. So if you want to do a deep push for favor, you can do that. Where's your weekly chest icon? Does it show the champs or does it show the event buffs? It shows the champions. The first you might want to restart your client because when I first started my weekly party, it showed me this. But now it shows me this properly. Yeah. Submit a ticket if it's changing back all the time, but I did see this to start and then it became that. One of those things where this probably should get moved over here where the potion manager is. But then the people would complain. They like this layout. Visually, it would be more helpful. Oh, just dropping the box down below? Yeah, that'd be cool too. Yeah, I think you could suggest that on Dev Insights. I think that's a pretty easy change. All right, we've completed Flare Whisperers. Mission complete for Kira. Back in we go. Tier 2, Wise Warriors Wait. Wise Warriors wait. And once again, it's gonna, why does that not? I dropped it where I want it, and it doesn't go. Okay. Once again, we're in a weird. Who do we get? No one. When do we want them? Now. Wait, what? Wait, what? All right. There we go. 0 speed champions. I shouldn't have done this. Oh well.